Here you go, honey. I thought you could use an upgrade.
Ooh, RGB and mechanical switches?
Actually, they're membrane switches with a tactile click, but what she doesn't know won't hurt her.
Honey, you must have spent a fortune.
Not even close.
I'm not even mad at you for forgetting our anniversary yesterday.
It's true, I did forget our anniversary, but I more than made up for it last night.
Not even close.
The Master Set MS120 is the latest RGB mechanical keyboard and mouse combo from Cooler Master. And for you lefties out there, you can also snag the MS121 with an ambidextrous mouse come October. Click on the link in the description for more info. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing well. So today we are actually assembling September's PC of the month, which you can see already a little preview of the case we're going to be using. Super exciting. This is actually going to be a mid to high-end fully blown AMD small form factor gaming PC. We finally now have here in 2017, the parts from Team Red, both on the CPU and GPU front, although GPU accessibility right now for AMD is a bit debatable. That's a topic for another video. But we're gonna be using an AMD CPU and GPU for this build, and it's gonna be all encompassed, or it's gonna be enclosed, I should say, inside of a relatively portable chassis. And it's gonna be super fun and exciting. So let's go ahead and check it out. Let's check out the parts. Come on, let's go. Oh, we're here. That was a really short trip. So today we'll be building inside of the Portal mini-ITX chassis from good old Bitphoenix. And if you guys haven't seen this case yet, it looks like something straight out of the video game. It kind of looks like one of the little robots that you interact with. It's a very fun looking case, very unique. The internal layout is just as unique as the exterior, in my opinion, as we'll take a look at in just a bit. It also comes in some varieties. You can get black or white, window, non-window. I'm going with a white windowed version. So you can see here the window's actually on top, giving you a look at your GPU. The GPU actually gets mounted across the, depth-wise across the case with a PCIe riser card, I believe. So that should be a pretty interesting little feature, and I'm hoping that this goes smoothly, that we don't get too many headaches from this little chassis here. But moving on, we've got a CPU to talk about. We've got the Ryzen 5 1600, a fantastic chip that I have been using a lot lately, which is why this is not a fresh, unopened box by any means. It's a great price-performance chip from AMD for about $200. It's absolutely fantastic. 6 cores, 12 threads, and of course you get some great overclocking capabilities with supported AM4 motherboards like this ASRock Fatality AB350 Gaming ITX AC. I've actually never used this board before, pretty excited to check it out. It's got some decent features here. So you've got an RGB LED header. I don't think we'll be using that today, but it's nice to have the option. Dual band 802.11 AC Wi-Fi, which is fantastic for a mini ITX board. Some sound crap that we don't really care about. M.2 NVMe support, and Intel Gigabit Ethernet LAN. For about 125 bucks, we're really ticking all the boxes that I look for personally when shopping around for a mini ITX motherboard. So excited to use that today. We're gonna be pairing that with a 16 gigabyte kit of Corsair Vengeance LPX DDR4 at 3000 megahertz. 16 gigabytes should be plenty for our needs. It's a great kit. I've been using this kit for ages. I guess not too many ages because it's DDR4 and it doesn't go that far back, but it has great compatibility with Ryzen platforms, which I'm very excited about as well. We'll be able to hit 3000 megahertz no problem, I would expect. And we've also got some decent storage options here. So for our boot drive, we've got a 250 gig Samsung 960 EVO M.2 NVMe SSD. This is not quite as snappy as the 960 Pro, but we don't really need the Pro for gaming per se. So I think the Evo is going to be just fine. It's got a stupid fast controller and stuff on it. We've also got a 1 terabyte WD black hard drive. This is a mechanical drive, of course, and I thought I was getting the 3.5-inch drive when I initially bought this, but this showed up on my doorstep. So I guess it works though, because we do have multiple 2.5-inch drive slots in the Portal, and going with the small form factor theme, I guess it can't hurt to house some smaller drives as well. So 1 terabyte should be plenty for our games. And finally, we have the infamous, ever so evasive Radeon Rx Vega 56. Holy moly. So yeah, this is going to be my first Vega build, I believe, right? At least small form factor for sure. But this is a fantastic little card that has, well, it was destined to have great price to performance based on the initial price that AMD promised us, and then with all of the price gouging or whatever you want to call it, now this card is going for about $550 on Newegg and Amazon, if not more. And it's also very hard to find. So this build, sorry guys, if you were trying to part out this exact system, this might be the only part that you have trouble acquiring, and even for a decent price. You might have to overpay if you really want one of these guys. But since I have it, I'm gonna use it. A lot of you guys are noticing the RX Vega 64 that's just been chilling on top of the RGB build in the background of my videos, saying, Kyle, why aren't you using that Vega card? It's just collecting dust. Well, this one was collecting dust too, so I'm going to use it today. I'm very excited to use it though. It is super fast for, you know, if it was $399 like AMD promised us initially, then it's technically got a better price to performance than the GTX 1070, just ever so slightly, but still. And yeah, I guess we're gonna run some benchmarks to see. I'm very curious to see how it performs with the 1600 there, so that should be pretty cool too. But those are pretty much all the parts, ladies and gentlemen. The total cost of this build comes to around, based on, you know, depending on what you pay for the RX Vega 56, you're looking at anywhere from $1,300 to about $1,500 for everything here. So like I said, this is sort of on the cusp of, you know, between mid-tier and high-end gaming system. You guys can take your pick, but there you guys have it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start piecing together this small form factor AMD gaming machine. Wait, why am I doing this? I have employees now. Heather, you're building a PC today.
Okay.
All right, guys, so Wifeysauce has completed the build. Took you and Chris about 2 hours,
Chris.
2 hours
Me.
more or less. Well, Chris had to film you guys, and he did. I'm sure he did a fantastic job. I'm
He
sure
helped
you did.
Me out. He helped. He gave me some. He's like, I think you should, do it that way.
Yes, he is a very useful intern.
Yeah,
I shall
he
use
is.
him. Use him in multiple ways. But how did the build go overall? It looks like it went pretty smoothly. Hold on, let me go ahead and slide this guy out. Let's take a look here. Let's take a quick gander. Okay, you got the, yeah, it looks like everything is installed. There's no fundamental parts missing. I see a graphics card, I see a CPU and a cooler, or I don't see the CPU. Did you install the CPU?
I did.
Okay, just making sure. So I guess, what were you expecting going into this build, and did reality meet your expectations or not?
I didn't expect it to be that difficult, but the one thing that gave me some trouble was the cable management. Like, since there's no like tie down spots or anything, having to like figure out how to, you know, tie the cables down and stuff was kind of difficult. And it doesn't look as clean as a normal build does because you can't tie down the cables behind the case like you usually do. So that was a little frustrating. Putting the cables in, it was pretty tricky at one point. Yeah, the A pin for the CPU, I just could not reach down in there. So I had to take a zip tie and hold them together in place so that I can use both hands to just push it down.
The two 4-pin connectors you actually zip tied together.
I zip tied them together.
In order to sort of fit it back there without it going all over the place.
Yeah, because there was no way.
Smart.
There's no way I could get it
I've actually never had to do that, but it's good to know that that works, because I'm sure that there's going to be some point where I needed to use that trick.
Yeah.
Looks pretty clean. I mean, all things considered, yes, it's true there are no tie-down points from what I can see behind the motherboard tray, although there's probably not any room for cables back there anyway. I think just the way this case is designed, since the window's on top, which pretty much only shows your video card, they probably weren't, you know,
too concerned
about cable management on the interior, but it looks like for what you were given, you did a pretty decent job. I can see you stashed a lot of the excess cabling inside of the drive cage, because there was only one drive that you had to mount off of the motherboard, right? The M.2 goes on the motherboard, and then you had that one 2.5-inch mechanical drive.
Right, that went right on the top of here.
Why didn't you mount that drive to this tray on top?
It was too big.
Of the cage? It was too big for. Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess, yeah, you know, generally the 2.5-inch SSD is slightly smaller than a 2.5-inch mechanical, it seems. But overall, looks pretty awesome. Were there any like oh shit moments that you ran into at any point along the build, or? Yes, that's a nod. That's a nodding of a yes. What happened?
There was a big oh shit.
Oh, there was a big shit. How big of a shit was it?
So after I was done, you know, assembling the computer, and I was like, oh, I'm done. Yeah, I can show Kyle. You know, I had, you know, when I was building, I obviously took this part of the case and I put it off to the side, and then I was just building in this part of the case, right?
Yeah.
And the cables, the front panel connectors and cables are connected to this side, so I had completely forgot about plugging those in.
Yep.
And so I had it all assembled, and you know how difficult they are because they're so tiny.
Yeah.
And I
especially with a small form factor build, it's even.
Yeah. So I went and I grabbed, I was like, oh, I'm done, yay, we can see it all put together. And I grabbed this, and I just looked at Chris, and I was like, I totally forgot about this. Oh, I hate my life. I totally forgot.
Connectors. Wow.
Oh no! I'm so mad at myself right now.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Looks like you got really lucky though, because it looks like all the front panel connectors are on the right side.
That's what I was gonna say. What saved me is the fact that it was in the front.
They're not being blocked by any of the other components at all. So it looks like you just had to plug them in and tuck the cables away. So you got really lucky there.
Right.
Dodged a big bullet. Yeah, I guess that's something to consider, is that just the way this case works is that you sort of do all of your building outside of the case entirely, and so you don't really realize that there are front panel connectors attached to this shell that still need to get plugged in to the innards here. So, but overall, honey, excellent job. Bravo! High fives all around, and good job to you, Chris.
I think I deserve a donut.
I think you do too. I was wondering what that donut was for, and it is for eating. That is now confirmed. I will have to have a bite of that after we shoot. Nope. I have to do the okay. All right, guys.
It's yummy, right?
Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to toss a like on the video if you enjoyed it. You can also check out Bitwit Ultra, our ad-free early access channel, for $1.50 a month. The first 2 weeks are completely free, and you can back out any friggin' time. I don't like doing videos with donut in my mouth. It tastes good, but it feels wrong. I'm so conflicted right now. Okay, guys, have a good one. Bye.
Bye.